Hi, my name is jplummer. I am a middle school teacher in northern Maine. I have been making some videos lately to help parents deal with the COVID-19 outbreak. This video today is the fifth in a series that I am making. These videos also might apply later on if you are at home with your child working with them on a snow day, and also homeschool parents might find these ideas useful or interesting. I hope you enjoy the video. Today's video is going to be on the importance of communicating with the teacher and the school. And I'd also like to give you suggestions on ways that you can advocate for your child. Let's get started. We're going to talk about communicating with the teacher during the time of the remote learning or the learning from home, whatever your school is calling it. I've got to say, first of all, it is so important to communicate with the teacher. You've got to get on the same page. Your ideas of what should be happening at your house also need to align with what the teacher is expecting. So the first thing that I suggest you do is to make your concerns known. The teacher needs to know what you're thinking about. Do you have any technology needs? Are you connected to the internet? Do you have devices at home that the student can use? How available is it? If you only have one computer for the whole household, how often is that going to be available for your child to use? Lastly, does your child need paper copies of everything? If you have any special academic needs for your child, how do you address those needs? Do you or your child need any mental or emotional support? Right now, that's very important to consider. Some people are handling this a lot better than others, so don't be afraid to reach out if your child needs help. Sometimes there's a counselor or a school social worker that may be able to help. Do you need any school supplies or materials? Does your child have all of his or her textbooks at home? Do you need paper or maybe graph paper for a math assignment? And then there's other things like that we normally wouldn't think of. I had a student that had a pencil but didn't have a pencil sharpener. Speak up if you think you need those things. Ask the teacher what they're requiring, and then you'll know what to ask for. How much communication will make you feel comfortable to do what is expected of you as a parent? Do you need to talk to the teacher quite a bit at the beginning and get things ironed out, and then you're going to be okay? Do you want to talk to the teacher every week? What are you going to feel comfortable with? And ask the teacher if he or she has any specific goals for your child in particular. It might be something that is in an IEP if your child is in special ed. It might be that your child is gifted and they're going to be expecting a little bit more of your child than some other children. There are some things that you're going to want to ask the teacher to get his or her opinion of. How often is the child going to be doing video conference meetings? Is it going to be once a day? Is it going to be every couple of days? Is there going to be a schedule as to when? There might be several students in the house, or you might need to connect for your work. You have to make sure that if you have any bandwidth limitations, that a whole bunch of people aren't going to be on the internet at the same time. What platform is your teacher going to be using? A lot of people are using Zoom right now. Are they going to do the old-fashioned Skype? Google has Google Meet. Microsoft has something called Microsoft Teams. The teacher needs to make that known so you know what to expect. How long are the meetings going to be? Should you plan on half-an-hour meetings, hour meetings? And what are the expectations of the meetings? A lot of times with reading groups, the teacher, if they're going to have a discussion about the book or the chapters that were read in the book, your child needs to be prepared ahead of time. What are the expectations for your student? How much time spent per day or per week on the work that that teacher is assigning? Should the child check in for attendance purposes? Many schools are requiring that attendance is taken. Should the child be emailing or checking their email so many times per day? Is the class going to be using a learning management system like Google Classroom or Edmodo? Does the child need to check on assignments that are posted in the learning management system? And how often? Are there going to be paper assignments that are sent home? A lot of times with younger students that aren't able to use technology yet might be required to do paper assignments instead of online or using technology. Is the teacher going to have office hours? Are there certain times or days of the week that they'll be available in case your child or you have a question? How should you contact the teacher if you have a question? Would it be best to email them? You might be hooked up on an app called, for instance, like Remind, where you can send instant messages back and forth. And Remind is a kind of an intermediary where you can text back and forth, but you don't know the teacher's phone number and the teacher does not know your phone number. It's kind of an anonymous thing. And are there any times that the teacher does not want to be contacted? Are there times that she has other responsibilities? And is there anything else to be aware of for your child specifically? These are all some really good questions. Some of the things that the teacher should provide for are assignments for different levels of student engagement. Does your student have the ability to work on his or her own? Maybe it's a technology issue. Does the student have the ability to use the technology on his or her own? And maybe the student is gifted and needs to be challenged more. Does the student have a strong desire to learn, and that teacher should feed that desire to learn? Is the child independent be able to do the things on his or her own? Or does the parent have to be available to help with the technology or with the content that is being learned? As far as technology goes, how is that student's ability to use that technology on his or her own? Does the child have interests that the teacher can cater to and find certain assignments around science or social studies that would make the child more interested in the assignment? As you're contacting the teacher and the teacher is getting back to you, please be patient with the teacher. Right now, the teacher is dealing with a whole lot of issues. The first one is they might have mandates from the administration of their school or state mandates that they have to follow. And if that's the case, that might delay some of the communication. A lot of times, administration does not tend to want to make quick decisions. It might be a while before the teacher can get back to you, depending on your question. The teacher has teaching responsibilities. They have to plan things, they have to find materials. It's not at their fingertips like usual. And when the teacher is in school, they could grab a book off the shelf, but that's not the case now. The teacher has a lot of other parents that they are trying to get in touch with. They might be playing phone or email tag with a lot of different people or with you. The teacher can be dealing with many, many students. In elementary, it's a small amount, anywhere from 10 to 25 kids that they're having to work with. But in high school, they might have 120, 150 kids even. The teacher will get back to you. Just be patient. The teacher might also have his or her own personal responsibilities that they're dealing with. Chances are good that that teacher is dealing with anxiety or maybe even illness of a loved one. The teacher, him or herself, might also have technology issues. Maybe they're not connected at their house, and the availability of the bandwidth might be difficult for them. And one thing I do want to say, speaking from experience, the teacher will be very grateful for your willingness to help with your child and supporting his or her work as a teacher. It makes our job as teachers easier, and we know the student will be doing well. So anything you can do to show that you're concerned and to show that you're willing to connect, that is a huge help for teachers. I hope you found that useful. Please look in the description box below for some information about the video. I will list some resources down there. Also, give it a thumbs up and share it with anybody you think might find it useful. Keep watching for more. I plan on making more videos. Until next time.